Greetings and welcome to Entrepreneurship and Small Business Development class. Indeed, it is important to learn about entrepreneurship and small business development. Now, we will start by defining what is entrepreneurship. So, the word entrepreneur was derived from a French word which means undertakers, meaning those who undertook risks of new enterprise. And by that, we mean that this is a person who, you're not very sure about the kind of business that you're going to start, but you are sure that you want to take that risk. And that is what entrepreneurship is all about. Entrepreneurship is also about creating incremental wealth. It could be personal or it could be for an organization. So in summary, entrepreneurship is the process of identifying business opportunities. So you look for a business opportunity either in your village, in your town, wherever you are. And after you have identified the business opportunity, then you go for it. Number two, you are trying to bring resources together creatively and innovatively. That is also about entrepreneurship. Number three, which is very important, is about taking the risks and pursuing the opportunities. This could be new opportunities or the opportunities that are within the organization. So we look at another word that is intrapreneurship. So what do you mean by entrepreneurship? This is where entrepreneurship happens within the organization. So managers want to take this risk. They already have a business venture. They're already employed in this organization. But one of the things they would want is to do corporate entrepreneurship, which is also called intrapreneurship. So it occurs when large organizations practice entrepreneurship. So what happens is where the organization is, let's say, dealing with processing or selling milk or something like that. So as an entrepreneur, you want to think about what else can you do? What other innovation can you bring in? And we may think about something like preparing yogurt. You see, you're selling milk as a company, that is where you're employed. But for you to do entrepreneurship is where you think about an innovative way of creating a business opportunity within. So you think about what if we came up with the issue of yogurt? What if we started making cheese and things like that? So some of the milk products to make sure that you are becoming innovative. So that is the definition of entrepreneurship. We cannot talk about entrepreneurship if we don't talk about self-employment. This is a situation where one creates his own or her own business to employ himself or herself or others. So you are coming up with your own business to employ yourself or to employ other people. And why do people start their own businesses? Why do people venture into self-employment? One of the things is survival or lack of a job. Somebody may have finished school, but they don't have anywhere to go. So they think about starting a business venture. Number two, it is to supplement the income that you have. These days, they're calling it side hustle. Number three, it is to become your own boss. You want to be a place where you don't want to be controlled in terms of you have to report to work at this time and leave at this time. You want to be in charge of yourself. Number four is lack of job satisfaction. For example, if you've been employed for a long time and you don't feel comfortable in that kind of an environment, then you may venture into a small business and you may want to employ or rather start your own business. Then the last one is you use the spare time that you have, you use it productively. So we have not exhausted the list, but this is just for us to try and understand why do people start their small businesses. But what are small businesses and how can they be defined, and especially in our Kenyan context? We look at it this way. If a business has 0 to 50 people, especially in the Kenyan context, we define that one as a small business. Number 2, we look at the sale volumes. How much are you selling in a particular day? Because that is what will determine whether it's a big business or whether it's a small business. You can think about a general shop, maybe somewhere when you're home. They sell maybe 20 loaves of bread, maybe in a day, some few bar soaps in a day, maybe 3 kgs or 10 kgs of sugar in a day. So if the sales are low, then that is classified as a small business. Then we also look at the sophistication of the management system. Do you have a certain management system that is able to manage how you sell your product, the payment and all that? And you find in most of the small businesses, then the management system is not even there. We're also thinking about the marketing niche or the coverage. How many people are you able to serve in the location where your business is situated? You'll find for most of the small business, they're just able to serve people within that locality. And then the lastly is, what about the ownership of that business? Is it how many other stakeholders? Do you have issues to do with shares and stocks and all that? And you find quite a number of the small businesses do not have the issues to do with shares and a stock. So we are saying that a business can be classified as a small business if the owner has a direct communication with the personnel and he has some reasonable control over that business. And most of the time, actually, a small business becomes, or rather, it started as a family business. That means it is individually owned. So just like we have said, the characteristics of small businesses are those ones. Low capital investment. Of course, for many of them, you realize that they don't require a lot of money for you to be able to start that business. And then again, we are also thinking about informal structures, which happens in most of those businesses. I mean, they don't have any defined structure as to how that business is run. And then most of them have few employees, or even in most of the cases, it's just only one, the owner and maybe just their family members. And then, of course, many times the owner is the one who makes most of the decisions. So if you find those characteristics, then you will know that is a small business. And what is their contribution to the economy, and especially in the Kenyan context? We find that small enterprises have a big role as far as the economy of a country is concerned. And one of them, of course, is employment creation. You realize most of the people, because of the fact that they don't have, they are not employed, they will look for jobs and they tarmac for quite some time. And then if they don't get a job where they're employed by the government or a parastatal or an NGO or whatever, then they start their own businesses. So it creates employment. We're also thinking about utilization of local resources. Many of the resources that are in your local area are utilized because of that small business. Then, of course, production of goods and services. This is where our goods and services are brought closer. You can imagine if you did not have that general shop near where you live and you have to get everything from the supermarket. Sometimes it becomes a little bit tedious to go all the way, especially if the supermarkets are far away from where you stay. But because of that general shop, that grocery shop, everything is brought closer. The market products, the onions, the skumas, they are brought closer to where you are so that you can be able to access them. And then, of course, promotion of technology and also things to do with capital information. We will look at the stages of growth of a small business. Sometimes we may assume that it is just a matter of, thinking about a business idea and, thinking about this is what I would want to start, and just thinking that you will just start and everything will be very smooth. And after that, you start making a profit. Now, a small business has its own growth. And it is good for us to appreciate that so that, in future, if you want to open your business, then you will know how does it start. And it has 3 stages: the pre-startup stage. Then there's another one that is called inception stage, and then the last one that is called the survival stage. That is the stage 1. Then we go to stage 2, which is growth or expansion, and then we go to stage 3, which is decline and death or revival. Let's look at each one of them in details. We are saying that in the pre-startup or the inception, this is where you come up with a mental impression, an idea or a plan or an intention or a purpose of what you'd want to do. You come up, you think about it. Sometimes you even brainstorm with friends or people around that area for them to help you refine this idea. You can do a few tests here and there. You can do a number of evaluations here and there for you to be able to know, is it a viable business opportunity? And then after that, you start the business. So that is a pre-start or the inception stage. So, and then you move now to the second stage, which is the survival or the growth stage. So what happens here? The survival or the growth stage is where you have already come up from the startup stage, but you still have so many challenges in terms of there are fewer customers that you have in the business because not everybody has known about your existence and all that. So there are a few challenges in terms of cost of operations. You find that the cost of operation is a bit high and the sales could be a bit low because, people have not yet appreciated, people have not yet warmed up to what you're producing, people have not yet even known what you are doing and things like that. And so there are a number of challenges that you come across. But then after that, after some time, because you're saying this is growth, you move from one stage to another. You go to another stage that is growth and expansion stage, which is also called the maintenance stage. So what happens here? Because people have already known what you are producing, and now you've become experienced. You know where to get your products at a cheaper price. You know how to minimize the expenses and all that. Then there is increased production. You may also have done a little bit of advertisement here and there. So increased production, increased sales, customers have already started warming up to your idea and they are buying from you. So you have improved cash flow and you have profits. So at this stage now, you are doing very well. So it is a stage where you expand, you bring in many more products. There's a lot of growth in terms of the profit that you are making. And that is what is also called the maintenance stage. So we move on to the maturity and the consolidation stage. So what happens here? In the maturity and the consolidation stage, here we are expecting that as a business person, you have already mastered the products and the production process. At this stage, you are also making enough profits. And the challenges now include control of expenses. There could be now competition here and there. Now, and at this point, you have now to start thinking about monitoring the market changes and developing new products. And what we are saying here is, the business environment is very dynamic. What was happening last year is not what is happening today in the business terrain. So you are, as a business person, you need to be really focused and look at what is happening in the business environment. And especially now you are at the maturity and a consolidation stage. Now you have to look out. You have to know what you're doing. You have to start mastering what you are doing. Because what happens after here is that if you don't do that, then the decline stage will start approaching. And what happens is that at the decline stage, there is a little bit of reduced growth. And remember, we're also talking about competition. And competition happens where, you are selling this product and then other people are also selling the same products and maybe at a cheaper price. So you need to be, you need to analyze the business environment and know how to move from there, because if that does not happen, then the business will start declining. And then at this stage, we will move now to the revival stage. So what happens here? So we are saying that theory has it that after the consolidation or the maturity stage, the business should be assisted to re-engineer. So you need now to re-engineer the business, because you have looked at the business environment and now you need to know what do I need to do next? How do I sustain or maintain myself? And here we think about development of higher skills, maybe for your employees. You may also thinking about the broadening marketing strategies in terms of, can you add more products? What is the costing about? What else can we do? What kind of an innovation do we need to introduce? Think about modern technologies that can also be brought in. Think about financing, because at this stage we say if nothing is done, then it will start declining. So this is where now you're starting to revive the business. And we're saying that it is very important for you to consider something that we call innovation. Innovation will be required to come up with innovative products and services from the existing and the new markets. So you have to think keenly about that. Remember, one of the things that we said that will come up at the maturity and the consolidation stage is the issue of competition. So you need to think about it seriously and start innovating. Start looking at your products and services and see how can you become more innovative. What can you introduce? What are the new marketing strategy? What is it that the customers want? And if that doesn't happen, then unfortunately, you may find yourself in the decline stage. Now we are saying that the decline stage occurs if the business does not re-engineer itself by being innovative and creative to new products, and developing new products, venturing into other markets, because there is competition left, right, and center, entering into other new markets, and sometimes, and many of the times, with advanced technology. So we're saying that if the business does not respond to this, if the business doesn't do something about it, then automatically we start dipping. We start going to the decline stage. And I'm sure now you're thinking about so many businesses, especially here in Kenya, that were doing well at some point. But then after some time, the business goes down and never even to be heard again. So this is exactly what happens. It is important for any business to develop new products, to be innovative, to re-engineer itself, to deal with competition through entering into other new markets and even advanced technology. So we are saying if the business does not respond swiftly, its growth will continue to decline. Sales will go down, profits will also go down or will also drop. However, we are saying if the entrepreneur is able to engineer the farm, it may start the growth cycle all over again instead of the decline through a revival or a renewal. So in case at this point you are able to revive your business, you are able to re-engineer your business, you are able to introduce new products, venture into new markets, become innovative, then you may not go to the decline stage. Instead, you may re-engineer yourself and you may revive yourself and then go back again. So thank you so much for listening to this presentation. Indeed, it is good to understand how small businesses operate, and that is why we are in this entrepreneurship class. I pray that you will enjoy the rest of the presentations and the rest of the classes, and it is my hope that you will understand, so that one day, if you are you have an opportunity, it's always good to think about starting your own business. Thank you so much. I hope and pray that we are going to adhere to the deadlines that have been set for all our cuts and assignments so that we don't get late. Thank you, and have a good time even as we meet for the subsequent classes in the semester. Asanteni sana.